So today's purely a Q&A, and this can be a Q&A about anything. Feel free to ask us about anything regarding camping, day hiking, backpacking, whatever. This can be even related to, um, specifically regarding areas. Hey, Abdi, you can ask us about like the Bay Area, Central Coast, Marcellus from.
I'm in Portland, Portland, Oregon, so I have several areas that I can talk about as well. Um, yeah.
Uh, yeah, so does anyone have any questions? Um, Maybe even about myself. You can ask me any updates personally.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
I mean, I can talk a bit about what's going on around here. I can also talk more about some snow activities.
Yeah, go
That's
ahead.
a pretty big thing around here. Hiking, camping with dogs, road tripping. That's another thing that I've done quite a bit. Um, with dogs less so, but um, yeah.
Yeah, so what's going on around there? Because I don't know, I'm not following as much as what's going around there, like weather or like COVID conditions.
Yeah, so weather-wise, the next few days are actually going to be pretty okay. So like we're going to have the sun is going to be shining. It's not going to be raining too much. The weekend is supposed to be a bit more rainy. And depending on where you are, I just checked this. Temperatures are going to be above, below, um, freezing. There
Hmm.
might be some mixed rain and snow near the mountains around the gorge, the Columbia River Gorge, I should say.
Yeah.
So um, there are just be prepared for rain, snow, precipitation of any kind, really. So
Oh,
um,
I mean, good to know. Good to know. And around here for the Bay Area, like we're like California is like it's kind of like a mess right now. Like I know pretty much from the Bay, from like the Bay Area, which is two regions, it's NorCal, I guess Bay Area, and there's SoCal, and there's Sacramento area, and we're all in like the kind of think the purple tier, is what you call it. And
I,
everything is shut down basically.
yeah,
And right now you can't. There's no overnight camping. There's no overnight backpacking. So you and then they strongly discourage people from going to from like stay in a hotel. You can only technically stay at a hotel if you need it because you're just kind of passing through or just like you are a nurse or something like. But yeah, they're strongly discouraging that. So like so all you can do right now is just that's safe is just to kind of like go outside to go for a day hike or something like that. In
hmm,
regard to weather, it's going to be raining. I know it's Saturday morning, but I think it clears up in the afternoon, and then Sunday and Monday it's raining. It might rain on like Christmas Day, so it's not really ideal hiking weather right now. I mean, not
yeah.
in the future. So, but I think it's just, but it's great if you're going to go snowboarding. Like, I mean, if you can go that way, that'd be like a perfect time to do that. Is this weekend? Um,
Yeah, yeah. And there's definitely, I'm not up to date on the latest snowfall conditions on Mount Hood in that area. I know we checked last week and they had like 42 inches of snow.
oh, wow. 42 inches?
42
Wow.
inches, which is a lot. So it's been raining a lot here. So if it rains a lot here, it usually means that it's snowing up there.
Wow.
Because I'm like an hour and a half or 2 hours away from the mountain. So it's super powdery, great for snowshoeing, cross country. Um, I guess you can probably just do regular snow hiking as long as you have micro spikes. Um, but yeah, and I think the ski resorts are opening, but they have this kind of time slot reservation system
Uh-huh.
um, for COVID reasons.
Oh,
Uh,
that's awesome. I'm glad they're allowing that and people can visit because here, like, they're strongly discouraging people to go to Tahoe. You must stay in your region. So I know people are still going because like they're just kind of getting around it. I mean, there's no one's enforcing it. So I know people are still doing the road trips. I'm staying here. I'm gonna just follow that. But it's
yeah,
cool that they don't have that in where you live.
yeah, I mean, there's still each county here, and I assume it's similar in California. Each county here has like a different
Yeah.
risk tier.
Yeah.
And so the county, the tri-county area around Portland itself, which is kind of like the most populous area of the state, were considered extreme risk. So
Okay.
about the only thing you can do is go to parks,
Okay.
and it has to be outside.
Okay.
So we're considered extreme risk. I'm less sure about the county at the coast. Um, they might have slightly fewer restrictions, but they're definitely, you can check the Oregon Health Authority website,
Okay.
or the county website to see like
Yeah.
where, how they are doing COVID wise. So,
Mhm. Awesome. And,
yeah.
and if anyone has any questions, please ask away. We were just kind of going over like the county restrictions or state restrictions that we're going through in the meantime until anyone has any questions.
Yeah, and there should be like a little question box, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
So, but I
yeah,
can
I
actually see the
haven't,
comments today, so that's great.
yeah, which is good. Yeah, I haven't seen any questions yet. I mean, you can ask questions about just the areas, hiking in general, camping, backpacking.
Gear,
Yeah, I kind of feel like
research.
it's kind of slow today, but I still, because we usually go on Thursdays, but still I wanted to make the opportunity just to kind of show people that like we're still here in case they have any last minute questions. If there's no questions, good.
Yeah. Um, so I also wrote down, I guess, one thing that I wanted to point out about this area, we're kind of in an ideal spot where we have the coast, is about an hour to 2 hours away driving west. The Columbia River Gorge, depending on if you go to the Washington side or the Oregon side, is within 30 minutes to an hour from the city. Um, and the mountains are also kind of an hour and a half to 2 hours from the city. And so there's so many options, to, I guess, just do all sorts of different things, right? The mountains are going to be more snow activity. The coast is going to be hiking, picnicking. We did that last year, and that was super fun. Um, the gorge is just great for hiking. That's probably the place where the weather changes most quickly. So like when I just checked, it was like snowing on the Oregon side, but not on the Washington side.
Oh,
So
that's interesting. I didn't know
um,
how it
it
is.
can be like just, that would be my main thing, is just be ready to get rained on, snowed on, have warm shoes, an extra change of clothes, stuff like that.
Oh
Um,
wow, I didn't know it was like the weather can change that much from like either side because um it's not the same from the Bay Area because the Bay Area like if you're going like San Francisco, San Jose, whether it's Central Coast, it never like it rains but there's no snow. Like I
yeah.
so you go to snow it's like Tahoe, so it's kind of cold like
Hmm.
that weekend. So pretty much here it's that it's the weather stays the same year round. So you're pretty like if this is a place you want to go, like all you would want, I would recommend is bringing a rain jacket.
Definitely,
Because
yeah.
but I didn't know like it was that like that temperamental in Oregon. But it's good to know
Yeah.
because if I ever do visit, well, I think I remember from like the PCT how like the weather can change so much, especially going up there and just in a flash.
Yeah. Yeah, especially this time of year where there can be like a wind, gust, right, that changes how the clouds are and all that. So that's probably the biggest thing. And the other thing is, um, state parks, forests and all that are changing how they can change pretty rapidly what's open, what's not. So
Mhm.
that was kind of my other, key point, is check the websites,
Mhm.
do your research.
Exactly.
Um,
Which is
yeah,
I do agree with that because it can change a lot. And I know from Oregon, like when I read that things have changed, like I have seen that, but we haven't seen that in California. So that's good to know. But like that's still everywhere you go, like it can change state by state or county. But do know that California is trying its best to keep its parks open because last time a lot of it shut down, a lot of the forests did, and it's all we have like, out here. So it was really so this is really nice. They are strongly pushing everyone to go outside and to keep that open. So
Yeah.
that's one thing I do want to like, get, report back that a lot of the parks are open. The only thing that it might double check is like the entrances and the times it opens and closes because I do know like sometimes because of now we're in a different tier that some places it might close earlier. Like so it doesn't usually things close at sunsets, like sunrise to sunset, but it might close before sunset because they don't want people wandering around after hours.
Hmm.
But it can vary by agency, by park. So just keep an eye out for that when you're going out, just checking the times, checking the entrances, because sometimes different places, their entrances are open or closed, because trying to like have I guess a head count or trying to make sure that the park's not overpopulated. So, and it can be a real bummer if there's two entrances and you go somewhere and it's closed. That happened
Yeah.
at Temples once. And I don't know if it's both entrances are open or not, but you have to pay attention to that, like read the details because not everything is just open, like, and just how it was. There's a lot of modifications out there, and it varies by county and by state too.
Yeah. And one thing that really, really bothers me is, at least for the more popular areas around the Columbia River Gorge, like Multnomah Falls, those are like usually very popular, like family holiday destinations. Even if you're not going to do a long hike, it's really nice to just kind of go there, see some waterfalls, take some pictures. Um, where you find the information about what's open and what the current process is, there are a couple different pages and they aren't necessarily consistent. So just cross-check some pages. We can add that to the like caption of the IGTV, right? So
Yes.
um,
And
we
if
can add
anyone has
that.
any questions, please ask away. We're just talking about like that's what's going on with our areas. Marcella's from the Portland area, I'm from like the Bay Area, and I talk about the Central Coast. But if you have any specific questions, please go on. Or we're just going to keep talking about what to look out for when you're upcoming adventure during this COVID time.
Yeah, I just saw a few more people join.
Yeah.
I know slightly handsome hikers on the East Coast. So unfortunately, I don't have too much information, but if you have any info, that'd be awesome.
Yes, I need to share. That's gonna be
Yeah.
helpful for people. And if anyone has any tips too, if they wanted to chime in regarding anything they think would be helpful to others regarding planning their trips during the COVID times, whether it's like you're related to your coast or to your area, please feel free because everything is like changing I know rapidly and it varies.
Hi.
Hey, Erica. Um, but definitely like I second with that. It's like sometimes depending on the different type of park or agency, like it's hard to find this information. Like you have to really dig. And once again, I'm going to talk about the California state parks. I don't hate them or anything. It's just that I know that they're not properly funded. So a lot of the
Hmm.
time, if I go to any California state park, I have to like dig and dig to find like any information. And I even made a
Mm.
mistake the other day with Andrew Malera State Park, which is by Big Sur. Like a bridge was closed, and it was like I had to like somehow like I don't like how it looks, but somehow I missed it, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was in red, but it's like small red lettering. That's my fault.
Yeah.
But the bridge was like a footbridge was closed, and they always close it for the winter time. We got it. We got there when it was closed. Maybe it was just like the timing, like they just removed it, so we had to like cross the stream to go to our destination. But that was just one thing that like I didn't see immediately. It wasn't as like the website isn't as friendly, but sometimes you have to kind of do a little bit of digging to verify this information.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I will say. I think that the Oregon state parks have done really well throughout COVID. Um, they have a lot of pretty clear information. As soon as you go to there, you can either look up a state park if you know the name, or they have this really awesome search
Mm.
feature.
Oh,
They'll tell you like which parks are fully open, partially open, or closed, just like visually on the map. They'll be like color coded.
oh,
And if you
that's
click on
pretty
the
easy.
park, it'll like pop up this little window that says like kind of the basics like COVID restrictions in place, open for day use or
Hmm.
camping,
Oh,
um,
perfect.
what amenities they have available. So all that they're actually doing really well. So
That's awesome. Like I wish more places did that. Like It's just, every area is different. So like I said, like, make sure you do your research, based on your county and your state. They can change and it can vary, and some can be easy, some can be hard. It's just, you don't know. It's just the luck of the draw where you're gonna visit.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think for ski resorts, I think each ski resort, because I don't know of any like state managed ski resorts,
Mhm.
you would have to go to the actual ski resort website to see what they're doing.
And it's the same with here. We have to go to the ski resorts website, and some even for here for like Tahoe, I know some like kind of it could be different, I guess, depending on this. Actually, no, I just suggest check the website. Don't That's what I recommend.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. Um, and I see more people joining. Please feel free to ask us any questions. We're just talking about right now about what's going on with the Bay Area and Oregon and Portland, and just kind of going what to look out for when you're hiking during this COVID world or time. So
Yeah, and also the holidays I think are gonna, um, whether or not you have family visiting, which hopefully if they're local, then that's one thing.
yeah.
Um, but we definitely, even around Thanksgiving is the last time that we went to a more popular area, and there were, I mean, I think I said this in one of the previous lives, but we showed up at like 8 in the morning to the trailhead, and the parking lot was full. And the parking lot is like, I don't know, like 10 spots or something just along the base, the trailhead. But it was 8:30 in the morning, and it was full. So I can't imagine that, especially because I think Christmas Eve is going to be like decent weather, so I imagine people will want to go and maybe get out.
Mhm. So,
Um,
I
ooh,
got
I
a
see a question from Elle.
question.
Um,
So what? So it says here, what's your most important tool you bring hiking? Okay. Ooh. So um,
do you want to go first?
the most important tool. So I have two different like important ones I bring. Um, I guess like tool can be different tools differently because like I automatically think my shoes, but it's not a tool,
Hmm.
just my shoes. But aside from that, like my most thing I love is like my trekking poles. I love my trekking poles so much. I'm a klutz. I naturally just trip and fall easily. I just can't help it. So it really helps me. And also because of former injuries, like my knees can like hurt a lot when going downhill. Like I really feel the pain. It's just I used to run all the time, and I used to run in concrete, so I use trekking poles because like it alleviates the pain. It makes me go for miles, and also it's a great to it's a good self-defense weapon too. And
Yeah.
the other thing, and it also helps me from wildlife. Like actually can make noises if I think I hear like a bear or something, or um uh, and then that was one, or also wrangle snakes. And then the other one I have is my Garmin in Reach. This is when I go to areas where I don't get signal, and I pay a little bit
Hmm.
more money for my backpacking. But as a female, like solo hiker, I get really paranoid. I do when I'm by myself. But this is just
Yeah.
one item that I know I have signal. I know I can reach people at any time, and it's just that peace of mind that I can't like the peace of mind. Like, I can't buy. I mean, I mean, $15 a month to have it, but it's something that like makes me happy and enjoy the hike
Yeah.
without any concern. And to me, that's worth it. But those are like my two things, but that's only for like when I don't have signal. And how about you?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah, so recently, and this was semi on purpose, I like to bring a headlamp when I go hiking.
hmm,
Whether or not I will, if I definitely know that we're not going to get caught in the dark, then I tend to not bring it. But I do think that a headlamp is honestly super useful to bring, even if you don't get caught, because caught in the dark. So what happened to us back in October? We ended up doing a sunset hike. And I had my phone, but we didn't have headlamps. And headlamps would have been super useful um, to have so that I didn't have to walk with my phone in my hand. Fortunately, nothing happened, and the trail was super clean, well maintained. So there weren't any massive tree roots or rocks or anything like that. But having that was kind of I regretted not having a headlamp with us on that particular hike. So I think having a headlamp is super, super useful. Um, First aid kit.
Oh,
I don't
that's
know if it's like really a tool per se, but also I think, and for people who are just joining, we're talking about important tools to bring on hikes. Um, but yeah, I think a first aid kit also super important to have. That, like safety wise, I guess we could just like talk only about
okay.
safety for a while. But
It's
like,
funny. We both think about safety though. That's what we think
yeah,
about when it's the most important tool.
yeah. So I think just those kinds of things that could get you out of a hairy situation and just
Mhm.
improve your
And
safety.
I second with the headlamp too.
Yes.
And someone commented that it's a
Yeah.
Carlos Stella Mission says that car lamp is essential for hikes later in the day. I got caught on a late hike with that one, so dangerous.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is. It can be super dangerous.
yeah. And there's like two examples I had. One recently, I was so upset because I didn't bring it because I love my headlamp. And headlamps are like you can find some for 20 bucks, 30 bucks. I bought mine for like 30, I think it was like 30 bucks. And it's just all about like you look at the lumens. You don't have to buy a specific band. Just you just get the one that like has the
Yeah.
light that is the brightest. But for me, once I didn't bring it and I didn't know it was going to start that early, and then I ended up like I heard a noise. I heard like some sort of weird animal noise, and this is at like this park where my boyfriend works. And I've been there tons of times. This is the first time I heard this weird noise. I'm like, oh no, no, this can be a mountain lion. I have no idea. It's the dark.
And mountain lions are scary. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he found me like a little lantern. I was like walking around with it, and I was just like a headlamp would have been way better. Like,
So
and I
much better. The
yeah,
hands-free is,
exactly.
yeah.
Because the phone doesn't really work that well. And then we also the other time we did a sunset hike, and I brought my headlamp, and he didn't. And like yeah, with the phone, it just wasn't working that great. And with me, I was like, this is so much easier. Just have it in my head. And I didn't look
Yeah.
anywhere, it goes right there. But I second like having a headlamp is really good. It's a great investment. If you don't have that now, I recommend like including that part of your list. Not anything immediately, but I would recommend that adding that to your
Yeah.
list.
If there's even a chance, because especially right now here in the more northern areas, the sun officially sets around 4:30 p.m.,
Wow.
but it starts getting dark around 3:30 depending on where you are. And like we went I live near a small wooded area. My house is near a small wooded area, and we went hiking there yesterday. Like it was supposed to be a sunset hike, and it's an area you know super well. But if we had not had those headlamps, it would like it's completely dark in the woods.
Oh wow.
And when we were like caught in the dark up in October, I mean, it was pitch black.
Wow.
Um, and like you're saying, if you hear any noise or my dog starts staring in a specific direction, I'm like, better not.
Yes,
What's over there?
yeah, I've been
So
hiking for years and like hearing any like and if it's dark and I hear a noise, I freak out. Like I don't care. I was like, it's a noise I haven't heard of, but I don't know where it's coming from. So
yeah,
I'm freaking out.
yeah. And we made record time. Fortunately, we made it to the end when it was still light out, and we started our descent um, as it was getting dark. But we definitely hiked like a good mile and a half just in pitch black forest.
Wow. Good
Um,
to doing that.
so
You got
yeah.
no place though. You got to send it to it. Mhm. And
Any other questions?
anyone
That was a
ask
really
it?
awesome one.
Yeah, I like that question a lot. Let's see. But
Yes.
um,
Handkerchiefs and buffs are, yeah, I get really
yeah,
sniffly. I love bringing tissues and that, but also because of COVID, right?
yeah.
Um,
Oh, I love my buff too because even if I have like a mask or well, I just like because it warms my neck a lot, but also it's a great cover up for especially for girls. It's actually a great way to like for your hair. I use it like a headband, so it's
yeah.
I've done one with a headband and I just like bring it over my mouth as people pass by.
Yeah. Yeah, and the good thing about handkerchiefs and bandanas too, and I think we talked about this last time, was if you ever have the need to go to the bathroom,
I
you
think
can
it really
also,
but
exactly.
Well, I was
So,
thinking too is that something else for handkerchief or bandana. One thing I do like for that is instead of using tissues, that's a great alternative. And of course,
mhm.
everyone has their preferences. But I always see like ever since I started picking up trash on like the trail, like I do that like once in a week or twice a month. Um, I see tissues at the first like I always see so many tissues on the trail. So I give kudos to you mentioning handkerchiefs because like
Yeah,
if it just makes it easier just to like one less thing to you to worry about preventing like you know preventing like I guess what's the word like you know, make
more
sure
pollution and, or
yeah leaving things behind
not pollution, but yeah, yeah,
yes prevent
exactly.
things to happen. So I give kudos to you for bringing that in and setting an example too because that's one thing that like as soon as I keep seeing that like I used to bring tissues and then I was like I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, and yeah, unless you have it like in your pocket too, then like you have to like stop and take it out of your
Yeah,
backpack and all that. So it's not the most practical, but
yeah.
um,
Mhm.
it
But
does get you out of a bind.
hmm and if
Um,
anyone has any other questions or comments or tips, you know, like for anyone, please share, you know,
yeah, yeah, we've been getting some good questions.
yes.
Uh, any questions about California, Bay Area, Oregon area? What is something that you see as a tool or accessory that you may forget often? Um, that so most recently, I would say probably bear spray. Um, that is definitely something that I'm trying to get into habit of bringing with me all the time, um, and or bringing with us whenever I go with my partner. And we've forgotten it so many times because you're like, oh, we know this area, we've never seen a bear, like it'll be fine. Um, and that's something that I think is super important, and I don't like realizing that I've forgotten. So, um,
Yes. I'm trying to think what else for me, what I usually forget. Um, I don't know, like I we usually forget. It's a good one because usually like, what I usually do, I always pack the night before. So because I'm very forgetful, like huge, like I forget. Well, actually, one funny thing I do forget, I forget my camera card. I always didn't forget.
the
I always
SD
lost
card,
my camera.
yeah.
Yeah, always, but that's like a joke comment. Like I always forget about that. But one thing that's kind of random, but like extra water bottle, I always get
Hmm.
freaked out, and I am because I have my water reservoir, but I always forget to bring extra water bottle because I always get just in case something happens, like I have my water bottle next to me. What if my reservoir, you know, like it messes up? Because that has happened to me. Like it busted, and then I ran out of water, and all I had was my water bottle. So I always have
Yeah.
that. Um, and I always have that as a backup. And then also it's good for have something else for electrolytes. And then Carlos mentioned that SD card battery is huge. OMG, yes.
Yes.
That's like I did a whole trip like in Pinnacles and I was taking pictures. I was just like, yeah, 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 yeah. And then I went through like 2 miles and I had
Yeah.
no memory card. I was like, oh,
Oh,
and or
that's
the
the
battery
worst.
pack. Yeah, it's like, oh, but yeah, that was like the worst I always forget. But it's not really a tool, it's just like it's just the thing that has happened. So but other than that, it's like a water bottle, something I always forget. And it's just nice to have. I just get so freaked out in case like if the last thing I want is be dehydrated. Like I don't know why. That's something that I always am super paranoid about.
I mean, it's not good to be dehydrated, and if especially if you're in an area where you might not have a good water source or anything like
Yeah.
that, then
Mhm.
it's a good thing to bring. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I've forgotten recently.
There's like Eric
Yeah.
headlamp, something that I forgot.
Yeah, you can go back
Oh
to
my
that
God,
kind
that
of.
one. And
Um,
um, I think maybe like I used to be about an external battery pack. That was the other one that kind of goes with the
mhm.
battery too. Because like in case like my phone dies or something, like I always try to remember to bring the external battery pack. That's probably ranked high on my list. That I'm trying to be best to remember that.
Yeah, he's
Oh, sorry, but I'm talking
overhydrated
to
enough.
your panicles. How?
Yeah,
Tell me
that
your
is
secret.
the one time I've been to Pinnacles, I remember like because I still just always bring a water bottle. And I remember we were doing kind of this longer loop, and the first time I've like emptied my bottle halfway through a hike, refilled it at one of the stations, and kept on hiking.
Well, they actually
'Cause
are really good with the water stations there, so I give them
they
kudos.
are, yeah,
Yes.
they really, really are.
And one cool fact, if anyone goes to Pinnacles, is that they really like, I couldn't find this earlier, but they have a lot of bike racks there, which I didn't know they're so abundant there. Because if you ever go camping, I recommend like bringing your bike, and you can bike
Hmm.
from the camping spot to the trailhead. And it cuts about 4 miles, because usually it's like two
Yeah.
miles from the camping spot to the trailhead. And at that time, they had closed the parking lot, but it makes it so much easier not to drive back and forth. But I recommend like biking there, and then it's like whatever loop you decide to do, it's only 6 miles. So I do recommend doing that if anyone decides to go visit.
Yeah, I remember that now. I definitely remember having to hike like a mile back to the car from one
And
of
it's
the
like,
ends. So
it's not fun. It's not it's not fun at all.
no, it's not. Yeah, it's not the most exciting part of the hike, but yeah, it's an awesome place. We saw several climbers there when we went.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
that's so cool. I wish I could have saw some. Like it was closed. Climbing was closed to the public when we visited.
mhm.
But it would have been cool to see that. It's like it feels like that part feels like I'm in the desert, but I'm not in the desert. So I'm like,
Yes.
yes, I get the desert feel without the drive or the like that. It's still hot, but I'm like you drive a little bit further out and you're in the Bay Area, so it's kind of nice that way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely true. I mean, the climate south of the Bay is very different from East Bay and even to San Francisco. So,
Yeah.
um, all
And does
right.
anyone
Any other questions? Yeah.
see what time we're at? We're at 4:33, so it's been 30 minutes, so we can wrap things up. But does anyone have any other questions? No questions?
No questions.
Yay! Okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we can also see if anything else comes up, you can contact me or Heather, of course.
We're always here to
Yeah,
help. And
definitely,
hope
definitely.
everyone enjoys their vacation, their holidays. And then also one important thing is that make sure to leave, whenever you do your adventures, is like make sure to leave the truth behind and leave it better than you found it. Something that I can reiterate over and over and over again.
Yeah. No, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. I was gonna say something, I'm like blanking.
Recreate responsibly.
Uh,
Recreate responsibly.
recreate responsibly. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, here it's always like stay safe is what they're always saying, telling people and take care and all that. Yeah, no, I think this is good.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll be back in January.
Yeah, January. We can decide the date, but we get Thursday at 4 o'clock as we usually do.
Yeah, sounds good.
Bye. Thank you,
Okay,
everyone.
bye.